What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome back to the stream. It's Tuesday. We're getting tactical as always, and I think this is my first YouTube stream with a new camera. So we're on a brand new camera. Should be much higher fidelity. If you've watched my videos recently, you've probably seen it. So there you go. And what we're going to be doing today is doing a little bit of a deep dive into X and 1 lists from events this week, as we normally do. It's kind of a regularly scheduled broadcast. I did a video yesterday, a return to the old best armies in 40k video series, and that one talked about all the undefeated lists, or at least all the factions that went undefeated. If you want to get a breakdown of that, then go check that out. But yeah, what we're going to be doing today is doing a little bit of a deeper dive. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Thanks for popping in. See my pores. I did just take a shower also, so I might have extra big pores for right now. In addition, as a little bit of housekeeping, I have, if you are interested, I'm going to be streaming after this stream over on the Purple channel. I'm going to be doing some more Space Marine play, I think, and we might do some Darktide as well. I started, if you're interested in, first of all, Space Marine stuff, new Space Marine Codex, I've started to upload VODs from my streams over on the Replay channel, youtube.com/TacticalTortoise. And the first one is up with Firestorm Assault Force, the aggressor-focused detachment for Space Marines. And I am also doing some Darktide gameplay, and I'm trying to get a little bit more professional, I think, with the Darktide stuff. We're doing some build breakdowns, a little bit of technology. So if you're into Darktide, please go check those out. And yeah, that is what's going on. That's what's up. All right, chat. Otherwise, let's get her done. Let's get her done with some 40k meta discussion. So I'm over here on Best Coast Pairings, diving into some events. Is there a faction that we want to discuss first? Just subscribe to Twitch because you don't want to wait for the replay channel? Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, it usually takes, sometimes like more recent stuff, I'll upload to the replay channel more quickly. So like the Space Marine stuff I'm doing, I'm doing within the next couple of days, sort of a couple days after the stream, as soon as it gets in the pipeline. But most of the time, it's about a week or two before the replays go on there. So if you want to see a particular game, the easiest way to see it is by subscribing on Twitch. Want to talk about Votann? Yeah, so we have some Votann to talk about. We have there's a couple of top placing Custodes I noticed. Yeah, I think just poking through. This is US Open Tampa. A lot of Tyranids to talk about. We got a couple top placing World Eaters. Not X1, but this is 4-2, which is pretty good. How's Eldar, though? Eldar's still kicking. Alive and kicking over here. We do have some Leagues of Votann. We also have some undefeated Leagues of Votann I talked about in the video yesterday. We have some, X1 Adeptus Custodes. They're getting back on the bandwagon. Adeptus Custodes really struggling right now, though. I think the nerfs were they hit them like 4 different ways, and I think it was too strong. I have a conspiracy theory that I think it was USO Tacoma was the pre-Data Slate one, where Adeptus Custodes won in the finals against Imperial Knights, which were kind of like the bugbear at the time, immediately post-index. And I have like a little bit of a theory that kind of incentivized the development team to add an additional layer of nerfs onto Adeptus Custodes, which they absolutely did not deserve. Custodes were very good. They were like top 3 faction, but they were not even close to being the number 1. And I think if you just hit them with either points or their stratagem nerfs, one or the other, they'd probably be down at like a 55% right now, but they're kind of sucking right now, which is super unfortunate. Sick about hearing about Eldari. They need the oath change, so they only get hit rolls for their faction. Yeah, it does feel like they definitely. Well, we won't talk about Eldar today because I think there's enough coverage of Eldar, everywhere. Fortunately, don't get me wrong. they're not the same level of insane that they were post, Data Slave, post nerf. And I think they're in a fine spot. Like, the game isn't in actual danger of like dematerializing and destabilizing because of Eldar. I do think that they definitely could have just taken the nuclear option to the faction. But somebody in the development team loves Eldar. They've been good at like, every edition for the last, million years or whatever. So it is what it is. Hoping we get some new Space Marines this coming weekend. Yeah, for sure. I think we're going to get some new Space Marine stuff, which will be sweet. Definitely. Curious if the detachments will make up for the Oath nerf. Honestly, the Oath nerf hasn't felt so bad. I think because largely people are building into the stuff that gets wound rerolls already. And so there are some buffs that you get. And there's like a lot of additional sort of wound mechanics, lethal hits, floating rerolls, twin link, that kind of stuff that you can find within the faction. And I think they've survived it. It definitely feels like it's more of a side grade. I think generally the power level that I'm feeling, it's more flexible. You have more possible builds and more build variety than you did with Gladius Task Force. I think that to play Marines previously, you were like Dark Angels, outside of non-compliant Marines. Right, if you were playing chapter or codex-specific Marines, you were basically like locked into like, oh, I'm playing Desolators, I'm playing the Aggressor Bomb. Once the Desolators got nerfed, they like turned into Whirlwinds or whatever. But you're like Whirlwinds, Aggressor Bomb.
Howdy. I played at Turkey Wars and was the 5-0 BT player. In my final game, I completely messed up rules sequencing, which influenced the outcome of the game. 4K Zildari was the true 5-0 undefeated player.
Oh, shit. Pharaoh, first of all, thank you for the super chat, my dude. I appreciate that. I also appreciate you just coming out and saying it. I think that's super upstanding, and I definitely respect it. Congratulations on going, I guess, 4-1? 4-1 asterisk with the Black Templars. I talked about the Black Templars at yesterday, right? That you were the list with the Rhino Rush Crusaders, right? No. Yes. Yes. All the Crusaders. This is a cool list, by the way. Super duper sick. If you don't mind me asking, if you're in the chat and want to elucidate a little bit about the rule sequencing that you messed up in particular, largely just for the edification of other people who might be watching, just so they don't make essentially the same mistake. But if you don't want to dive into it, that's also fine. I respect whatever you want to do. But I appreciate you coming and talking about it. And I appreciate the super chat also. So this was the Eldar in the finals. Wayleaper, Avatar of Cain, Farseer, double Fire Dragons. That's cool. Plus double Howling Banshees. Whoa, this is like classy Eldar. It's all like short-range Aspect Warriors, double Rangers. We do have double Shadow Specters. D-Can support weapon platforms. Been a little while, my dude. Plus 2 Warwalkers, 3 Warp Spiders. Wow, this is like cool technical Eldar. No Night Spinners. We've left the Night Spinners at home. No Incarn. Although the Incarn's kind of like just fallen off a cliff. People are just taking the Avatar of Cain instead. It's like the same points value, and the Avatar of Cain's like way harder to kill and does way more damage. So I don't know. I think it's a side grade. Yeah. Well, congratulations to Jorge for potentially, or at least getting to the final table and having a game. Gave a squad lethal hits when it shouldn't have had it, as they began to turn in a transport, and you cannot target units and transports with strats. Yeah, that's fair. That's a tough one. That one also requires you, because you're in Righteous Crusaders, right? Yeah, that one also requires you to have an attached character too, right? But it was probably... Was it the Brethren Squad and the Redeemer? Yeah, it's a weird order. It's definitely a strange roll, but for those in chat, keep in mind, if you're in a transport, you can't get strats. It used to be a weird one, too, because you could have, in 9th edition, there were a lot of stuff that trigger in the command phase that you would put on units and drop pods, or you'd want to put on units and drop pods. But because they were in a transport in reserve, they were still off the table, or they were still inside the transport and specifically couldn't be targeted. All right. Well, cool. Good call out though. I totally understand that mistake, and I appreciate you coming out and talking about it. All right, what did people want to look at? Lictor, I hardly knew her. Yeah, I think that's a team name. It's pretty classic. All right. Tyranids, Space Wolves, Tyranids again, Votann, and Custodes. Well, a lot of people wanted to talk about Tyranids, so we'll talk about Tyranids. All right, so we had some wild Tyranids. So this is Tampa Open. We had some insane Tyranids from Tampa Open. This one's pretty straightforward. I appreciate the list name, by the way. We should bring back the tradition of funny list names. The Norn identity is a great one. Norns being the identity of the Synaptic Nexus detachment, and we're bringing them in a list. Amazing. It's like they were born to be the identity of this list. You know what I'm saying? We have Psychostatic Disruption Hive Tyrant. So he has the Infiltrator aura, no Deep Strike within 12. That's pretty interesting. I guess he does sort of usually sit kind of in the back. He's like 12 inches from the front line. So that also lets him reach the back of your deployment zone and prevent Inceptors from dive bobbing your back objective. That's really clever, actually. Usually you just like windmill slam -1 damage, Synaptic Control on him. Because you can stack so many defensive buffs on the Hive Tyrant that it's actually good to like sort of he's sort of tough to kill. He's 2+ save, -1 damage, potentially Armor of Contempt as well. But this being the Winged Hive Tyrant, I guess you also get he's just faster, right? So he can put that aura where you need it a little bit better. I like that. That's cool. And you're not T10, so it's not quite as survivable on the baseline as the Foot Hive Tyrant, so you're not stacking quite as high. We've got the Biovore for scoring, double Maleceptor, normal stuff, double Neurolictor, not 3. Shame. Double Norn Emissary plus an Assimilator. Let's fucking go, dude. 2+2 Pyrovores, 2 River Swarms. So, yeah, there's no Exocrines. You don't need Exocrines in Synaptic Nexus because you get reroll once to hit from the reroll ones to hit and wound strat. Plus, you might be dropping rerolls on maybe the Assimilator as well against something, so you don't necessarily need the rerolls from Exocrines. The Exocrines are just a good gun, but I can understand if you're paying 1,000 points for Norns that you definitely wouldn't have any other points to spend. But yeah, we're just tanking with the Emissaries, following up the Maleceptors, or vice versa, I guess, depending on the matchup, probably. And then I think a lot of times we see the Assimilator Rapid Ingress. That might be what we're doing here. I'm not 100% sure. Because that lets you, like, you can force your opponent to screen so the Maleceptors have something to do around 2. And then if whatever he targets, if it goes towards the table edge, the Assimilator can, like, come off the side or ingress off the side, move, shoot it for +2, and then charge, like, pretty far. So its threat range off the side of the table is pretty far. And a lot of times you can put it in a position, because it's so hard to kill and has Armor of Contempt on a stick, you can potentially sort of play it more aggressively, and it's not going to get killed in one turn, generally speaking. So that might be the game plan. It's honestly a pretty sweet list. I don't know. I still don't love Norns, but maybe we're just like pushing the T11 profile as far as we can between Maleceptors and Norns. Just like, if you can't beat T11, you lose! You lose the game! Alright, there was another Tyranid list. I believe it was this one. Wily Papas over here. You can't play Orks and be in the Shadow Wizard money, Yang. That is exclusively for 1,000 Suns, right? That is cultural appropriation, if not assigned to 1,000 Suns army. Wily Papas, you should be ashamed of yourself. Unless this list includes multiple weird boys, in which case I I'll allow it. No, there's not a single Psyker in this list. You're not in the Shadow Wizard Money Gang. Wiley, get out of here, dude. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. When you're playing Tabletop Simulator, is it Yellowscribe that makes the circle around a model for an aura? Yes. I have a video about it. I believe it literally is called How to Get Auras on Your Models. There is an updated version of Yellowscribe, which I think I've linked in the in that video, but if I haven't, I will show it to you here. It is this URL. So there's it's called Yellowscribe V2. The mod is linked on the website. You just go to Yellowscribe XYZ instead of Yellowscribe.com. The original one ended up being unsupported, and I think updates to Battlescribe and or to TTS made it out of date, so it doesn't work anymore. That one works, though. That one works just fine, and that's how you get all those buffs. Also, I want to throw a shout out to New Recruit. New Recruit it didn't work originally, but they updated it so it does. Their data set hasn't been updated in a while, so they're still on old points for Space Marines. Also, it's not doing anything. Huh. Well, I was going to give New Recruit a shout out, but it seems to be dead. Oh, there it goes. All right. I don't know what's up with that. I'll zoom out a little bit. Actually, here, we're just going to do this. I'm just going to go to a full screen mode here, chat, momentarily, just so I can show. So New Recruit has a function by which they can, if you use their list builder, you can export directly to a Yellowscribe code. So uploading your video or your uploading your list in Yellowscribe here gives you a code when you do it. On New Recruit, you can simply click this Yellowscribe code button, and it will do one automatically for you. Then you just take this and put it directly in the mod. So if you use New Recruit, you now do not even have to use this website, which is so sick. So big shout out to New Recruit for fixing that functionality, because it was broken for a while. Hope that helps. And that's how you get all the auras and stuff. Oh, it was updated in New Recruit yesterday? I was list building yesterday, it didn't work. I guess we could look. Do they have new detachments? Oh, they do! All right. So, I streamed yesterday at like... What time did I stream? Like 4 or something? 3 or 4? And it was not updated at that point, but they must have done it afterwards. That's cool. Sick. Love it. All right. Let's go back to what we were doing. Goodbye, Yellowscribe and New Recruit. And Eldar. So, the other list that we wanted to talk about is a Tyranid list. Colin Watts, I think technically undefeated, but it looks like a pre-round 7 draw or something. Actually, I don't know. Somebody told me in the comment section of the video the other day that the US Open had a shadow round, which I think is how you created all these like undefeated but not like top 8 players. I have no idea. I don't know how it works, chat. The bracket system for US Open events is like a nightmare. I just accept it as it is. But it's 19th, top 20, right? Top what? 9%, 8% in a 260 player field. This list is fucking wild. It's called Fun Nids, which I think is not the most creative list name ever, but is probably incredibly descriptive, because this list looks like it is an absolute hoot to play. So it's Death Leaper, Neuro Tyrant with Hunting Ground, so he messes with you if you strategic reserve, which is sweet. A Wing Tyrant Neuro Node, so you can redeploy stuff before the game begins, which is important based on the composition of the remainder of the list. We have double Exocrine for backline shooting, plus a Biover for scoring. Only one Neurolictor. Shameful display, but you know, it is what it is. Some people only get one Neurolictor. And then whatever's going on over here. 18 Raveners! 18 of them! So these guys... The Ravener profile is absolutely nutty. Here is the old data sheet. because they got an update to their war gear, but it doesn't change their weapon profiles. It just changes whether or not they have their gun. They now they have a base 4+ save, or they have a base 5+ save now in the new codex, but they can trade their gun for a 4+ save if they want to. But the gun's okay. It's like you get 3 strength 4 shots. It's okay for infantry sweeping if you want to. I don't know if it's like that material, honestly, either way. They can hop at the end of your opponent's turn back into strategic reserve, so they can do actions pretty well. They can drop in, do secondaries, hop back out. And then they have 7 twin-linked melee attacks. 7 of those bad boys. So those are strength 5, like wounding everything on 5s. They could, 5s or 6s. You can go down to wounding on 4s against a lot of stuff, or 5s with twin linked if they're affected by the Neurolictor aura. So that gets kind of sweet. The downside for these guys in this detachment is that they are not Vanguard Invader keyworded, but they do, deep strike as a core. They have a long movement, so you can hop them behind terrain in like the middle of the table, and you can even use seated broods on them because they're infantry. So you can jump them in. And then, like, move, scoot them with the stratagem to reactive move, and just sort of follow along the rest of the infantry in the army. So they're kind of like a good counterpunch. They don't get all the synergies, but they're efficient enough that it's fine. And for this profile, right, you get 3 wounds, you get 7 melee attacks, you get a fast speed, like deep strike shenanigans. It's 25 points a model. 25 points, dude. Can you imagine? Absolutely nuts. So huge numbers of Raveners. Plus a big brick of melee bioweapon warriors with the Tyranid Prime in them. So these guys are like sort of the real damage dealers. They're also twin linked, only 5 attacks each, but they get sustained 1, they get reroll 1s from their own ability. And they are Vanguard Invaders, so you can surprise assault with them. So you can give them +1 to hit, rerolling 1s with sustained 1. So they average more hits than they started with attacks if all those are done. And then if you fail the battle shock check, and I think we have Death Leaper to try to make that happen. Yeah, so you can be the surprise attack assault battle shock check at -1. If you fail that, they're also +1 to wound, again with twin linked. Or you have the Neurolictor there to battle shock people, either one. And so they actually do sort of like nutty damage. Plus, they can advance and charge because they're Vanguard Invaders. So the threat range between of these 2 units is like pretty similar, because the warriors are move 6, advance and charge, but they have like the 1 move 12 guy who can kind of make it a little bit farther. These guys are just basic move 10, so these guys, 10 plus a charge. These guys average 9.5 plus a charge, plus whatever the prime does. And then 18 Von Ryan's Leapers, chat. I think this list looked at the mission deck in Leviathan and said, oh, hey, you can't fix old no prisoners where you get points for killing wounds of enemies. So we're just going to rock as many 3-wound idiots as we possibly can. So this list alpha strikes like super duper hard. You can turn 1 deep strike Raveners like somewhere awkward and then just be hopping them around the table. You can put 18 Von Ryan's Leapers in the front of the table and then redeploy them with Neuronode if you need to. And then just like pin your opponent in their deployment zone, set up with Raveners, pin your opponent in your deployment zone again with the move 10 dudes the second time, and then suddenly like the Warriors and the Hive Tyrant hit you at the end of the game. Plus you're being shot by Exocrines the whole time. It sounds like going second against this list, I think you just lose. Like it's like it's Raven Guard Tyranids. Like I don't know what you do. Even if you don't lose that much to the Von Ryan's Leapers, they put 12 of them like around your deployment zone. They kill some chaff, and you're like, well, my scoring sucks now, but at least I get to kill 300 points of Von Ryan's Leapers. There's 1 additional unit sitting in the middle. Then they like move up and pin you a second turn, and then at that point, all the Raveners are just waiting for you to like move into the center. It sounds absolutely insane. Going second, it feels much worse, but it has enough like big bricky units for 25 points a model. It might be fine. I don't know. Seems fine. Seems okay. No GSC? We talked about GSC yesterday. There's a 5-0 GSC. Watch my video. Watch my video from yesterday. Yeah, so that list is absolutely sweet. I think there are some other X and 1 Tyranids. This is a Matt Evans over here, I think from Power of the Hive Mind, I think is the name of his channel. Went 4-1-1 with a 90-point draw. At that point, you just basically call it a win. This is another Vanguard Onslaught. Wing Type Tyrant, 1 Neuro Tyrant, 1 Death Leaper, 2 Tyranid Primes, double Gargoyles, Biovores, triple Exocrine, triple Neurolector, triple melee weapon Tyranid Warriors. Love that. Yeah. I mean, the melee weapon warriors really impressed me. I did not think that they would. I was like, yeah, it's move 6. It's like the profile's not that good. But it's just enough damage output that they're able to kind of trade. Now, the one thing I'll caveat this about is that if Space Marines get really popular with the new codex coming out, I think a lot of these lists that are kind of like mid damage might fall off a little bit because the amount of armor of contempt in the metagame might become super duper tough. Now you can get around it a little bit because you can battle shock people, and that could help. You also might be able to, CP drain them by forcing the Armor of Contempts in the shooting phase, like run them out of CP, or the Space Marine builds might not be running lots of Rites of Battle or lots of free stratagem effects, so you only get 1 Armor of Contempt per turn. But the downside of Tyranids right now is that basically everything's like AP1, maybe AP2, and that's really going to hamper how powerful these little melee units are. So that would be the one thing I would caveat. Right now we're in kind of a situation where a lot of armies are susceptible to that kind of profile, but I think there is the potential that moving into the future that could change pretty significantly. All right. Moving on. We talked about Tyranids for a while. Let's talk out some Adeptus Custodes. So we have a 3-2 Adeptus Custodes here and a 4-1 Adeptus Custodes. This is from Brighton 5. Alistair Morris. Congratulations to you, sir. And I think Aluz is asking how much resin you have to buy. I think the answer is probably not that much. maybe grav tanks. 1 Blade Champion, 1 Shield Captain in Alaris Terminator armor. Ceaseless Hunter on that guy for the reactive move. Plus Prosecutors. Oh, is that the reactive move or the... Yeah, that's the reactive move. Triple Prosecutors for backline. You can't take the Policemen anymore, Adeptus Arbites, so... we're just running Prosecutors, which is fine. They have a 3+ save, and you only need 4 of them. You get 4 of them, I believe. It's 3 in the unit champion. For some reason, that readout doesn't load the unit champion. Plus a big brick of 6 Alaris, so that's where the shield captain goes to get your stratagems for free. Plus a unit of 3 and a unit of 2. Wow, okay. Then 2 units of 5 Custodian Wardens. One of them gets the Blade Champion, one of them gets Trajan, who's also in the list, and then a Calidus Assassin. So it's kind of a classic build, honestly. The double Warden bricks in the middle, plus just tons of Alaris Custodians to hop around the sides to do their what do they call it? Like an up and down? Like go into the Deep Strike and then come back down. And then some Prosecutors for screening. Not too much like exceptional technology here, I guess. This Blade Champion has Inspirational Exemplar, which I think is the once per game auto passive battle shock check, which is kind of okay. It's not amazing. So yeah. Good stuff from Adeptus Custodes. I do think that they are still struggling. There's a lot of like anti-heavy infantry in the game right now that's really going to screw them over. And I think that if Space Marine like Firestorm lists become really popular and everyone's taking 3-wound infantry, it might be really awkward for Custodes because everyone's going to be teching to kill almost exactly their profile. But, it is what it is. That happens sometimes. I do think they could use a little bit of a cut, maybe. Prosecutor's surprisingly nice against Psychers, yeah. I played a game a while ago, I think pre-Data Slate. I was playing Thousand Suns into Custodes, and bottom of round 5, I drew Capture Enemy Outpost, which would have given me the points I needed to win. So Magnus had to like triple move over to my opponent's deployment zone, Doom Bolt a unit of Prosecutors. I was like, all right, if I Doom Bolt and put every gun into them, because there's 4 of them on the objective, and I'm OC 6, and they're OC 2, so they're out OCing me. Or maybe he had they might be OC 1, I don't remember. But he had enough to out OC me. But if I killed the Prosecutors, I would win the game. And so I was like, Doom Bolt. And they're like, 3+ feel no pain. Make every one of them. And I was like, okay. Gaze of Magnus. They're like, 3+ feel no pain. I lose one model. I was like, oh no. And I finally got them on the last Firestorm of Tzeentch, which was absolutely insane. But the random anti-psyker abilities on these ladies is like super duper sweet. Up and down. Yeah, good for scoring secondaries, 100%. Super strong. For sure. Had an impossible question to answer pop up in Sisters. Split into immolators, getting the +1 to hit for being below half strength because it's not modifying the starting strength of the unit. Yeah, so that's a weird one. I think a lot of places have FAQs to deal with that. You still have to be below starting strength, right? So you need to be at 4 models. So you still need to lose a model. But then theoretically, or I guess, yeah, they would get the +1 to hit, but not the +1 to wound. If you lose another model, you would get the +1 to wound. It's weird because the starting strength rules check at the list construction, I believe, which is, I think, not the, yeah, so it's right here. The starting strength is the number of models when you're added to an army. So any of those abilities that split units up into smaller units, so like combat squads and Sagitors and immolators, technically render you below your starting strength and also force battle shack checks on you if you've lost even a single model. I don't believe that's the intention of the rule. I think there's a lot of places that FAQ that to check at the start of the game. And that is what I do as well. I think having to track starting strength as being different for models who are split is really weird. But I agree with you. Yeah, the technically, yes, the starting strength of the unit is halved when you split them into 2 small units. But I think a lot of house rules FAQ that. Yeah, yeah. Works on technicality, but probably it's intended. Yeah, is I think for sure what's going on there. And honestly, for Sisters, I mean, that's like probably fine. Getting like a benefit from it's okay. The awkward part is when you start to like be taking battle shock checks because you used your own ability, and that's like that's shitty. For every other faction that does it, it's really shitty. Sisters are the one faction they're like, yay, this weird technicality gives me a buff, but it's weird. Apparently, one of the Sisters players had it played using that. One of the 5-0 lists. Yeah, I mean, I don't like... If an event wants to run it that way, that is what the rule says. Like, I don't begrudge them. I think that's... If that's what your event does, 100% use that. 100%. Like, and especially it being Sisters. Like, any marginal statistical buff you can get to your damage output is great. Yes, please. Hate that the starting strength rule for monsters and vehicle units with multiple models. Yeah, I agree with that too. The issue is that they took a lot of those units. Was that my face cam that whole time, by the way, chat? It's awkward. I think I was like trying to show a passage in the coda in the core rules, but I totally wasn't doing it. It's right here. If anybody didn't see it, which I don't think anyone did. That's awkward. I'm sorry. I always flip to my face camera and then forget about it. I agree, yeah, that a lot of these rules are kind of legacy rules. That back when the kind of normal unit size for monster and vehicle units was 1 to 3. And so you could have a situation where you can normally, without having to worry about it, like lose a model and lose 2 models and be below half strength. But then they just randomly changed a lot of them to 2 because that's what's in the box. And I feel like that was a mistake. Even if you changed it to be like 2 to 4 or 1 to 4 or something, I think that's fine. And then you could run 3 if you want to get the benefits of those. But yeah, the way it works right now is like kind of awkward, honestly. You're like more incentivized to play your vehicle squadrons as not a squadron because they get better if you do that. It's very strange. Anything in the attached character step that restores starting strength? I don't believe so. Yeah, it's literally just attached units. It doesn't, like, recheck. Honestly, they should have added it. Like, battle formation step is when starting strength should be determined. Because it's weird that it's like starting strength is your starting strength when you're added to the army, and then attached characters reset it, but any other effects don't. They just need to make it so that there's like a second check inside the battle formation step. All right, what were we looking at next? Why are they worse than 2 vehicle units? So, in order to be below starting strength, if you're a multi-model unit, you have to be below the number of models that you began with. So for a 2-model vehicle unit to be below its starting strength, you have to lose 50% of the unit. However, this is largely for, first of all, if it's for battle shock checks, because a 2-model vehicle unit will never suffer a battle shock check naturally, which is kind of funny. That is buff, honestly. But also for the Grim Determination effects, where you're +1 to hit if you're below starting strength, +1 to wound if you're below half strength. You will never get the +1 to wound if you're a 2-model vehicle unit. It is mathematically impossible for it to trigger because your starting strength is 2. Once one of them is lost, you're below starting strength. So half of your output is dead, but you get +1 to hit, which is like, okay, whatever. But if you are below half strength, then you need to have you're at half strength with only a single model left. So you have to then lose the second model, which destroys the unit. So you don't get +1 to wound from it. So Crusher Stampede and Adeptus Custodes are like the big recipients of this like weird thing. And if you have a 3-model unit, you can lose 1 model, have 2 remaining, get +1 to hit, lose a second model, get +1 to wound on the final remaining model, and it's fine. But because you have a 2-model unit, the second half of that ability doesn't do anything. It's just blank for you, which is super weird. For monsters and vehicles, it should always be like they were a single model units for being under half strength and full strength. Maybe. I think that gets weird if you have like there are vehicles that are low wounds count, right? Like Grot tanks, Crisis battle suits, like all these things are like little 4 wound dudes who have the vehicle keyword. I think you just start like adding weird mechanics into a keyword that isn't necessarily like specifically for that big stuff. I don't know. Maybe it should just be tied to the wound count of the units inside that's making up your unit, right? Where like if the models in your unit are 5 or more wounds each, then having lost a single wound would count you as below starting strength or something. That would probably be the way to go. I guess that would affect Crisis battlesuits. I don't remember what Grot tanks are though. Anyway, let's move on. Not getting stuck into rules discussions today. What are we talking about? We are talking about Necrons. Let's look for some Necrons, chat. Do we have any Necrons in Tampa? So we have a, what is this, 7 and 2? 6 and 2 Necron. Daniel Kelly over here. Big wins, too, by the way. 300s. His lowest wins is 78. Big losses, though, too. Is it awkward? Come on, we'll be done, bitch. All right. Oh, we're off to a little bit of a spicy start. Actually, it's extremely spicy. So triple Hexmark Destroyer, which to be honest is probably the right call. Hexmark Destroyers are insane-o. So that's fine. One of them has the Sovereign Coronal, so we can count people as being led. We have a Catacomb Command Barge. These guys have an aura of +1 objective control. So they work really well with like Lich Guard, which are really tough to kill, but only OC1. So they get out OC'd by garbage idiots a lot of times. But the Catacomb Command Bard says, no, none of that. Get that shit out of here. I'm OC2. I'm going to beat you. Then we have a Royal Warden, which, if I'm honest, I don't know what it does. I don't know if I've ever seen a Royal Warden before. After 9th edition. They were good at 9th edition. They let you fall back and shoot. Which was sick. Where you at, Royal Warden? He gives his attached unit heavy and assault. Okay, that's cool. Once per battle, at the start of any phase, you can select one friendly Necron unit that is battle shocked, and it is no longer battle shocked. Any phase. Wait, that's sick. So you can like a Chaos Knights player is like, all right, extra battle shock check for being below starting strength. You're like, oh no, I failed it. And they're like, okay, like, you know, turn flips over. I'll go to my shooting phase. You're like, I'm gonna unbattle shock real quick. Thank you. You no longer get +1 to hit against me. That's super cool. Yeah, and it's not that it doesn't count as being battle shock. It is no longer battle shock. It just flips off. That's sweet. Plus he's got a sweet gun. Rapid fire 2 for 2 damage. That's solid. And heavy and assault. Those are pretty good. You can already get assault for a CP, but getting assault for free is solid. So we have a Technomancer, Orican the Diviner, the Warden. So I think we put Orican and the Warden into the Warrior Squad. Does that look right? Yeah. Yes. And then we have a Lone Operative Technomancer, who's just a guy. Plus triple Scarab Swarms for utility. 1 unit of Crypto Thralls to go into the Warrior Brick. And the Warrior Brick are rifles. Oh, they are Reapers. Those are not base assault. Interesting. Oh no, they're just lethal hits. Yeah, okay. So getting assault for free saves a lot of CP on that, actually. It's basically like a Rites of Battle, because you almost always give those guys assault weapons. And occasionally you get heavy too, which is kind of nice. Plus a Flayed 1 unit, 1 Deathmark unit, 3 units of 3 Locust Heavy Destroyers with the big 6 damage Gauss gun, plus a unit of Tomb Blades for utility. This list is wild. So we have 24 between the 20 guys in the unit, plus Orican the Diviner, plus the 2 Crypto Thralls. 24 OC3 Necron Warriors. OC3. Even if they get battle shocked, you can unbattle shock them to keep using strats on them. I guess that the timing of that's kind of weird, right? Because you battle shock. Oh no, I guess not. No, it's fine. I don't think the timing's strange at all. And then we're backing that up with 9 heavy destroyers and then a ton of utility. Death marks because they deep strike and can intercept flayed ones, tomb blades, and 9 scarab swarms. This list is cool. Plus the Transcendent Katana jump around. And a Lone Operative Technomancer. Good stuff, chat. Can you use it to retake objectives if you fail battle shock in command phase? You can't use it. Yeah. So that is the weird timing. But you have like a once per game insane bravery for that. And honestly, like how often are Necron warriors below half strength if they're not dead? Yeah, but there's no way to get around that, right? The only other benefit that we have is the Lord, who just lets you use stratagems on them when they're battle shocked. And I think the Royal Warden's ability is like a little bit better because it gives you the same effect. It's only once per game instead of permanent, but then you also don't get any of the other downside of being battle shocked, which also seems good. That feels like kind of a middle finger to Tyranids, if I'm being honest. That's a cool list, chat. I like that. All right. Any of these lists that like come out with creativity, I'm so into. I love the creative use of wombo combos like that. Let's see if we can take a quick peek for other top placer Necrons. Not here. We do have some Grey Knights. We'll talk about Grey Knights next, maybe, chat. People are into it. Ooh, Chaos Knights too. Not that that's too surprising. A little bit of Astra Militarum action. Here we go. Ooh, 302. Technically undefeated. Danny McDevitt over here. And honestly, if you're playing... Oh, this, yeah. We just naturally tied twice. Wait a minute. How... Mr. McDevitt, how do you do that? A 58 and an 82. I was like, well, if you're playing WTC format and you play with you know, the whatever that is, like the win margin of victory, then so you can get ties a lot because there's like a 10 VP Goldilocks zone where you get ties. Nope. I guess 5 BP, right? Not for Danny McDevitt over here. Dude just naturally hit 2 exact numbers to tie twice to go undefeated at this event. That's wild. What? What is that? All right, what are we running? Okay, we're also off to a spicy start. Double Chronomancer, one with the Veil of Darkness. Let's look at the Chronomancer real quick. It's been a while since I've seen one of these friendos on the table. He gives you -1 to be hit, but not stealth. Whoa, okay. He used to give you a 5% vulnerable save, right? He's just -1 to be hit every time any attack targets you. That's really good. And then in your shooting phase, you can move 5 inches, so yeah, they get a shoot and scoop. Yeah, the downside is you're usually pushing survivability with Necrons, and he's not as good as a hyper-material ablator, generally speaking. Illuminor Serras, so we can also -1 AP a unit, so we're already stacking some defenses. Plus a Catan Shard of the Void Dragon, a Transcendent Catan with System Paternal Weave, double Warrior Bricks. Who needs Hyper Material Ablator? Just take double Chronomancer, apparently. So these guys, I mean, they're OC2 infantry. They're -1 to be hit, probably -1 AP from Serras. Plus, they move like 12, 13 inches because you can advance and shoot for 1 CP, shoot, and then move 5 inches. And then we're all in on the combo. We don't have any res orbs. Does Serras repair warriors still? Let's look at this guy. There's not a single resurrection orb in this list. Is wild. I assume we have a reanimator, right? Yeah. Let's look at Serras. He is... I can't find him. Serras, where you at? Where you at, my dude? Guys, Oberon. Oh, so he was just right there. All right, let's see what. No, he just gets the armor penetration thing. +1 AP against you, +1 AP by you. Which is good because you can like chain the warrior units to Serras. You have like a lot of maneuverability. You have a lot of control over where you go because of those Chronomancers. And then you make, are they Mass Reapers? They have 1 flare each. It's interesting. Single flare. And then, yeah. And so they can like move up, shoot, and then move back and string back to the -1 AP aura. I guess they want to stay in the +1 AP aura anyway. So it is what it is. Maybe that's what the 1 flare dude is for. He stands in the back of the unit, so he still gets to shoot, so that he can be within 6 inches of Serras. Reanimator, 2x3 Scarab Swarms, 1 Spyder. Okay, with a Gloom Prism. No, don't make the Gloom Prism meta. I only play Psychic armies. You can't make the Gloom Prism meta. It gives a 4+ Feel No Pain to. So he's a 6+ Feel No Pain for both these units. So we don't have Technomancers for the unit or Auric and the Diviner. So we don't have built-in Feel No Pains. But we do have a 6+ from the Spyder. Plus, you can make it a 4+ against Psychic. A bunch of Locust Destroyers for support and utility and stuff, and then 2 Tomb Blades for scoring. Oof. Plus, we have two Catan Shards also, right? Void Dragon and a Transcendent. This is spicy. That's the Necron Warriors moving like 15 inches is unironically terrifying. Because even without their invulnerable save, there's like not a lot of armies in the game one-shots one of these, especially if they have a Feel No Pain. And so, and are -1 to be hit permanently. So having these guys like just jet across the table and touch all your objectives is like so nutty. Woo! That way they have one assault weapon to advance and save their sudden storm CP. Are the... Wait, flayers are assault weapons? Is that what we're talking about? Or am I misreading? I thought the flayers were just rapid fire. Yeah, just rapid fire. Oh, I get you. Yeah, because they have to have made an attack to move after shooting. So having a 24-inch range gun means that they're always in range. Oh, okay. That's clever. I understand, chat. Yep. That's great. That's great technology. Understood. All right. Good talk. Man, Necron's like kind of getting a little bit creative here, and I love it. You love to see it. What's up next? A bunch of people asked for Space Wolves. So let's find some Space Wolves to talk about. Y'all keep harping on Space Wolves. We have a 6-2 from Tampa. Chris Lacey over here. With Bjorn. Space Wolves feel like they fell off a little bit after the nerfs to CP taxes, because you can no longer be like Bjorn can only CP tax battle tactics now, so you very rarely get like the double CP taxes and things. But there are some times where you Calidus and Bjorn a single stratagem, and your opponent's entire game plan like falls apart. That would be basically every Space Marine list I've ever made. Is like I always like Windmill Slam Reboot Gilliman in so I can double cast a single strat, and if my opponent was like double CP taxes, I would just concede. An Apothecary Biologus with Fire Discipline. That's the new Bolter Discipline enhancement. It's the same as it's just Bolter Discipline, but they renamed it because you usually added it to things that weren't bolters, so they made it make a little bit more sense, which I appreciate. A Gravis Captain with Artificer Armor, a Lieutenant with Honor Vehement. So we're doing the Aggressor Squad Wombo combo because we're in Gladius Task Force. So Captain Gravis Armor for the free strat, plus Apothecary Biologus because he can double attach with the Captain. Fire Discipline for 5-up critical hits, so he gives lethal and sustain on 5s. And then just reroll a bunch of stuff with those and blow somebody up. We then have a Lieutenant with Honor Vehement for extra punching, and Ragnar Blackmane, who, by the way, is a Chad. If you caught my stream yesterday, I played against Ragnar Blackmane. That dude fucks. The one Aggressor Squad, a Blade Guard Veteran Squad. It's usually where... I think that's generally where the Lieutenant and Ragnar Blackmane attach into. So it's like a 5-man unit that actually hits super hard. Because you get the Lieutenant with all the buffs. Ragnar Blackmane attacks 1,000,000 times. He has like 8 attacks or something with sustain 1. And then you can give them Honor the Chapter, so they're all +1 to wound. And they absolutely slap super hard. 2 drop pods. I wonder who we're putting in the drop pods. A Land Raider Crusader, probably for the Aggressor Squad unit. An Incursor Squad. 2 Long Fangs. Well, we found who's going in the drop pods. we figured it out, chat. Grav Melted Long Fangs. Did somebody... Has this guy been informed that it's 10th edition? Does he know that there's a new edition that's been transitioned over? Grav Melta Drop Pod Long Fangs. I mean, turns out Storm of Fire and Oza Moment are like the great equalizers of weapon profiles. Anything you want to put in your drop pods, you can make it good with Oza Moment. We have a double Redemptor Dreadnought to follow that up. Was this using new points? Aren't these like 210 in the current version? Or maybe they're 200 and they went down to 190. The Incursor Squad also helps out these guys too, quite a bit, right? Because you can just come in for +1 to hit. onto the Long Fangs, which is a kind of a big deal because their ballistic skill is not that great. So that helps a ton. And the Land Raider Crusader can't attach these guys and these guys, right? Because yeah, this is 16 models. So you need, because it's a full boat, you need the bigger Land Raider for it. So these guys are just like sort of hanging out, I think. You could put them in a drop pod and rapid ingress them. You can't charge out of a drop pod after it drops in. But you can ingress them and then charge the next turn. And I believe Ragnar Blackbane gives you advance and charge, is that right? And then also you get lethal hits on the charge as well. Or lethal hits from the lieutenant. Let me double check. Yeah, advance and charge. Not fall back and charge, though. Important to note. No fall back and charge. Only advance. But you can put him in tactical, so it's whatever. He gets +2 attacks and strength, so he goes to 10 attack, strength 8, plus sustain 1. And then because he's in a Blade Guard veteran squad, they give him reroll 1s to hit. So he's no Osip moment. He's hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, sustain 1. So he swings 10 times, should get like 13 hits. And then +1 to wound, AP 4 with Onto the Chapter if you're in Assault Doctrine. Whoa! Ragnar Blackbane. He wounds everything on 4s, so he's probably good for, on most targets, assuming you're honoring the chaptering, he's probably good for 6 to 7 AP 4 2 damage swings. So by himself, he kills like most tanks in the game. With the addition of a Blade Guard veteran and one CP. And also, some of those are lethal, to be honest. So he's also probably wounding like 7 or 8. Ragnar Blackbane. You absolute Chad. I'm so glad he's back in, because his profile was so nutty when the index came out. But it was like, is he better than just shooting people to death with Desolators? And the answer was no. But now, Desolators have been nerfed, so you can actually play other stuff. And I think that he's just like super sweet. Seems good. Did the list win? It won most of its games. It got 5 100-point wins. That is a good one. He's also a good-looking wolf, yeah, for sure. The Meltapod seems really bad. Yeah, I don't know if I love the Meltapod, but I honestly, that feels like kind of a concession to the edition change, where you're like, all right, we're going to Tampa Open. What do I have? Melted Longfang drops. Like, okay. Just some 9th edition technology. They were good at 9th edition. Less so now, but, you know, it's still probably fine. If you're doing enough to... if you've got the Gravis drop, the Gravis bomb, you're probably doing okay. The Spyder field open is only for vehicles? Is it? The Tomb Spyder? Huh. I thought it was everything. But maybe that's because every time I've ever attacked into a spider, it's triggered the 4+ field no pain. Spooder. Where's Spooder? Data sheet. I guess these are on Wahapedia now, right? I can actually just look them up on Wahapedia without having to go through every PDF. That's Warhammer Community. Just keep hitting Warhammer Community over and over. Yeah, they added Necrons recently, I believe. Tomb Spooder. Ah! That's true, chat. That is a 6+. Only for vehicles. I mean, maybe we're just bringing it for the Gloom Prism? Plus, you can regenerate the Scarabs, I guess, which is, like, kind of cool. That is unfortunate. Well, take back what I said about the 6+ field no pain on all the warriors. They don't get that. But they do get the Gloom Prism save, so that's something. It's weird that only half, like half of its Feel No Pain is keyword locked. That's kind of confusing, honestly. But whatever. You would sort of expect it to affect everything and then be buffed against psychic attacks and not be two separate auras, but it is what it is. That's a good call out, chat. Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate you. How good are Land Raiders? Are they worth paying eBay markups? Land Raiders are incredible. Specifically, the high occupancy Land Raiders. Like Godhammer Land Raiders are okay, but almost every Space Marine list has Redeemers or Crusaders in it right now. Redeemers are sort of the gold standard because they have like good guns, they're good on Overwatch, and they can transport extra models. You want to be able to put in, like 7's kind of the minimum because you want to have, or 14's kind of the minimum right now because you want to have 7, either a 10-man unit and multiple attached characters or an aggressor squad with an attached character. And those are both between 12 and 14. Plus, the Redeemer and the Crusader are faster and have better like infantry sweeping, which is something that Space Marines can kind of struggle with sometimes. So, yeah, almost always Crusaders and Redeemers, but all the Land Raider chassis are very playable right now, I think. All right. Well, people keep asking you to talk about Votann. We did talk about Votann in the video yesterday, but we can poke some Votann again. Did I close my Tampa window? What a absolute master I am. Oh, what have I done? Not a lot of leagues of Votann at US Open. I do actually. There was a local GT to me who I know had I think second place Votann player. It was this one. All right, yeah. So we had leagues of Votann from Drew's Houseborn here at 4-1. It's a list we haven't talked about yet because we did talk about undefeated Votann yesterday, which was an interesting list. It had Uthar the Destined in it, which I have not seen in age. But I think he was just acting as a single occupant Sagittor and just running around the table because he has 5 wounds and all damage against him is 1 damage. All attacks against him are 1 damage. So he takes 5 separate attacks to kill. You have to convert all 5 attacks on him in order to remove him. You can't just do it with 2 damage or las cannons or whatever. The game and meta feel healthy. But the actual feel and flavor of most armies is completely dead. I mean, welcome to 40k. Like, armies in 40k never play what they're like, how they're like supposed to in the lore. I do think that with it being Index Hammer, like player expression within list building is a little bit hamstrung right now because you have for most factions, your options are so limited. For like Tyranids, we're seeing like a bunch of interesting stuff win, and that's what we're gonna see for Space Marines because like when Space Marines get all their detachments and they're running with 7 detachments, you're gonna see a ton of different play. Like we're gonna see some Stormland stuff win. We're gonna see a ton of Ironstorm. We're gonna see a ton of Firestorm. Gladius Task Force probably not going anywhere, and all that stuff I think is gonna be super popular and like Space Marine wins are gonna be all over the place. I think it's similar for Tyranids, but every other faction right now you're pigeonholed into one play style to fit whatever detachment you have, and until you get a codex, it's just how it is. So I mean that's unfortunate, but I would rather have a couple months of some factions having an uninteresting game plan than like 100 years of playing 9th edition codexes with 10th edition mechanics and it being a fucking nightmare. I think the index release was great. Obviously the balance was awful, but I think that the amount of work that the team did to build the entire an entirely new ecosystem was huge, and that was super good. And honestly, like the new format of datasheets and how they're designing the factions is cool. Factions have a mechanical identity now, which I never did before. All right. Anyway, This one's running a Khal with a Grim Demeanor. 1 unit of Hearthkin Warriors. So we're splitting a Hearthkin Warrior unit into double Sagittors. And then we have 2 Chthonian Berserk units to fill out the other 2 Sagittors. So we have a little bit of melee counterpunch. Plus triple Brokir Thunderkin. Inland Fortresses. Let's go. With Magna Rail Cannons and a unit of Enhir Hearthguard. No Pioneers. Who needs them, right? You got Sagittors with idiots in them. For 155 points, you get a kind of a tanky vehicle with 5 dudes in it that can run and go take objectives and things. So whatever, that seems fine. So we're basically just like using Sagittors as our utility. They have the missile launchers, so they've got pretty solid output as well. And then we also have the Thundercan and the Land Fortresses just to brawl in the middle. And then we have a unit of Enhir Hearthguard to force your opponent to screen, which is good, because you're kind of all hands on deck dealing with these Votann armies. They're so efficient now. They have so many models. If you have to screen your backline from 10 Enhir Hearthguard killing you, a lot of times you're pulling a lot of utility from your front line, which is really awkward. Yeah, this is just like a stat check right here. A bunch of vehicles and a bunch of dudes with really powerful guns. Can you beat them? Probably not. Yeah. Seems good. Kind of a pretty standard Votann list. I like it. I had a request for Chaos Demons. We can look at Demons. Oh, and Deathwatch. I don't know about Deathwatch, chat. Let's see if Tampa has any Deathwatch for us. Nope. Oh, my. How the mighty have fallen. Holy crap, dude. Here's a 4-2 Deathwatch. That's pretty good. Watch it just be like Ultramarines. No, we are in Black Spirit Task Force. Okay. Deathwatch went from being probably like, a lot of people were worried it was the best faction in the game and it was like, outside of Eldar, like largely unbeatable, to being like just basically unplayed. They did get nerfed a million times in a row, basically. They caught all the Space Marine nerfs, they caught the Desolator nerfs, and they caught all their own stratagems being nerfed too, which is kind of insane. Fight Club had some good Deathwatch and Demons too. Alright, we'll take a look after that. Oh, no, that's what we're in right now. Just kidding. This is the one from Fight Club. Alright, we have a Phobos Captain with Tome of the Ectoclades. A Phobos Captain. Interesting. Can we look at that guy real quick? He gives you redeploys on Phobos units, if I remember correctly. That is this guy? Nope, that's a regular lieutenant. Where are you at, Phobos Captain? Come back. There he is. I kind of don't like the Phobos Captain model, simply because all the Captain models are pointing, which is like, all right, we're denoting that they're a leadership unit, but also he's like a special ops guy. Why aren't you shooting your gun, my dude? Yeah, so after first turn roll off, you can redeploy up to 3 Phobos Scout or Scout Snipers and put them into Strategic Reserve if you want to. I wish you still had Omni Scrambler. That'd be cool. That was very good when the captain was his own Omni Scrambler aura. And you could add the buff to make it a bigger aura too. Although, that's ancient history. A Primaris Lieutenant with the Beacon Angelus, so we can turn 1 Rapid Ingress, plus a Primaris Lieutenant, double Gladiator Lancers, 2x10 Hellblasters. Whoa! What? Okay. I mean, I guess we can point 2 of them at 2 different Oath targets, Tome of the Ectoclades, right? So that's pretty good. Triple Inceptor squads. Man after my own heart right here. I've been playing 2 Inceptor squads in the new Tyranid Codex just to like find points for all the other new stuff. And man, am I feeling it. I wish I had 3. Inceptors are so good. Double Infiltrator squads. So we can attach the captain to one of them if we want to. Or he's just, honestly, he might just be a Tome of the Ectoclades caddy and he redeploys these guys. Plus a Thunderfire cannon and a Whirlwind and a Calidus Assassin. So the lieutenants, for sure, go with the Hellblaster squads, right? So they get lethal hits. One of them can Rapid Ingress, and then you can teleport to area in both of them, so they can hop around the table. I don't believe any of the other, or much of the other Black Spear stuff works with them. You can get lethal sustain, right? Because they can proc their own doctrine ability for lethal already, but you can stack the two if you already have one. Let's kill team rolls. Yeah. And I guess you could also do precision if you wanted to. Like lethal precision. But I guess that means that you could, for 1 CP, you can like adaptive tactics them and then just constantly be giving them lethal sustains, which is cool. But all the other stuff works on only bolters, right? So these don't do anything. But we can teleport them, so that's pretty good. I think we're just hopping Hellblaster squads around the table, chat. No kill teams? Yeah, I'm honestly, kill teams are hard. Like, I don't love the new kill team rules because a lot of them are like, the interesting thing used to be that you could combo like unit special abilities, but now they don't have those, right? So you're just like, it's all the same dude, but they just have like slightly different weapons, which is like, all right. I liked the rule that you used to have where your different specialists gave you special abilities to the unit. I liked that. I wish they had kept some of that flavor, but it is what it is. I think they tried to push the kill teams by making the stratagems more efficient on kill teams, but they then nerfed all the stratagems. So, like, okay, thank you. All right, we're talking about Chaos Demons. Michael Mann, 5-1 Chaos Demons. We did talk about 2 Chaos Demons listed on the video yesterday. I actually talked about one of them. It was kind of generic. It was like old school, like index Chaos Demons. And I was like, or pre-data slate Chaos Demons. And I was like, okay, this is kind of sweet. And then I missed that there was an entirely Khorne Chaos Demon list, which it looks like we have another one of. Everyone's on Khorne today. Wow. All right. No, oh, this one has pink horrors. Just kidding. This isn't pure Khorne, but it's close. It's good enough for me, I think. Pink horrors, like, real talk. Pink is basically just a lighter shade of red, right? It's not pink, it's light, it's red. So pink horrors are basically a Khorne unit, is all I'm saying. Also, they die a lot because they respawn and then die again, and I feel like that's sort of like Khorne's jam. So I think it's probably fine. All right, this list running Be'lakor, a Blood Master, who we found out is the Blood Crusher Lord. A Rendmaster on Skull Throne plus Skull Taker. We have 2 units of Bloodletters, 1 for Skull Taker, and 1 is just hanging out. Skull Taker does give them Devastating, which is sweet, but it's hard to source rerolls on them, which is what you really want, which is whatever. We then have 30 pink horrors. I think we've talked about mass pink horrors previously, just like huge numbers of pink horrors. And the real benefit is that they are super hard to kill efficiently because they respawn twice. So you get like 35 wounds basically on average for 140 points, which is insane. Most to be almost entirely protected by a 4+ invulnerable save. We then have a Plague Bearer unit to obsect some objectives and 2 units of Blood Crushers just to beat people up. Everybody's on the Blood Crusher train right now because they do 1 billion mortal wounds when they charge, and they also hit just hard enough to usually finish off whatever they charge. So they're very efficient, and they're high base speed, so they combo with Warp Surge really well. Plus, you can just dump them in with Be'lakor 6 inches away wherever you want, and then make the charge with +1, I think, because of the... do they get +1 to charge from the icon? Is that what they do? I think that's what they do. So they make charges out of Deep Strike on 5s, which is pretty good. I can't remember if it's an icon or a musician who does that. And they don't get musicians because they're weird. Oh, it is, yeah, instrument. Do they get the instrument? They should, right? Oh, they do. Okay, just kidding. I just totally missed it. Yeah, all right. Yeah, so 5-inch Deep Strikes with Be'lakor, which is sweet. Any Custodes? Yeah, we talked about Custodes already. We had some X1 Custodes, which was sweet. Orc list you faced in the final round was insane. Had a gargantuan Squiggoth. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is from is this from Denver Fight Club? Is that what we're talking about? No. All right. I don't know which orc list this was. But the gargantuan Squiggoth like an actual... It's an actual thing, right? Because it's like huge firing deck. It's non-vehicle keyworded, which means we've talked about this on stream before. I don't know if I have its data sheet downloaded right now. It's non-vehicle keyworded, which means that -1 to wound works on it. Whatever, Orks is never beaten or whatever it is. The name of the stratagem. So it's like T13 -1 to be wounded. So like most things wounded on 5s or 6s, just like most weapons in the game. Don't worry about it. So it's like functionally impossible to kill. Can carry a ton of guns around on it, and then also just like sort of dominate the middle of the table. Yeah, I think that thing is like much less of a meme than you expect it to be. Obviously, super duper heavy anti-tank will still just like laser beam it. So you rock up against like the one shadow sword in the tournament, and you're like, well, fuck me, I guess. But if you don't hit that, and you have people who are relying on like mass, you know, mid-strength stuff to kill you, that guy's just not gonna die. He's just invincible. The gargantuan Squiggoth is actually legit right now. You have to lethal hit it, I guess, is probably like the answer. Get those like cool Black Templars with a billion lethal hits in there. Oh, was the list? Was there a Squiggoth? Oh yeah, it's just so small. Look at that little guy. Yeah, but it's like 30 transport capacity, I think. You have one truck, and then you can put like just a billion units in it. You can put like 2 or 3 units inside it and shoot out the top, which is super sick. Yeah, Squiggoth is it's a real thing. All right, next up, what do we want to talk about next? Going through these at a clip. This has been pretty interesting. So what we've already covered, we talked about Custodes, we talked about Leaves of Votann, we talked about, I guess we talked about Orks a little bit. We talked about Space Wolves. We talked about Eldar somehow. We talked about Chaos Demons. We haven't talked about Drukhari, which I'd actually like to see if there's any Drukhari from Tampa who did well. No. Decidedly not. Yeah, we're a little Drukhari starved right now, which is surprising. Drukhari seem like they have play. I'm surprised that there aren't more like top level players trying to make them work. I think the problem is that they're like a little bit janky and they're a little dicey. And so they maybe aren't quite as like popular for that reason, but it is surprising to me that we don't see more of them make it to the top. This one's from Turkey Wars. We have an Archon, Beastmaster, the whole unit. This guy's 105 points. He has so many dudes in him. The total wounds count on this thing is crazy because I think these are 4, and these are 2, and this guy's 3, I think. So these are like, it's like 22 wounds or something for 105 points. Kind of nutty. Homunculus, 2 Cabalite Warriors, 1 Rank Squad, double Venoms. The Venoms are annoying to deal with because the Cabalite, you split the Cabalite Warriors up, and then you can just add like 5 idiots in there. And their damage output isn't too bad if you take the heavy weapons. And then they also have Obsac, and you have to deal 10 OC on an objective once you kill them. So they don't hold the objective the turn that you kill the Venom because they're bottle shocked, but then the next turn they can just Obsec it in their own turn if you don't deal with them, which is like super obnoxious. We have a Kronos, triple Mandrakes for utility, 2 Ravagers, double Scourges, double Talos, and a Tantalus. Ooh, Tantalus! Cool! Who goes in the Tantalus? Maybe all the Cabalite Warriors with the big guns. Yeah, it might just be the big gun Cabalite Warriors, because then the Tantalus can wander around. It has like 8 shots by itself, and then all the little guys shoot out at the top too. And so you actually have like massive numbers of Dark Lances, all affected by 1 pain token for full rerolls, which is really cool. Or hit rerolls, I should say. They don't get full rerolls unless you are on the ground with an Archon. Third place at Fight Club and Lesser Drukhari, but mostly at Eldar. Yeah, that doesn't count. Ynnari don't count. Because Ynnari give the Eldar like detachment abilities to Drukhari. So it's like a whole different army, basically. You're doing something else with that list for sure. New Marine Vanguard detachment, you infiltrate 10 Deathwatch Knights with a chaplain just from your opponent's deployment zone. Yeah. Or Deathwing Knights, just to say. That is very funny. Is that actually what you play with them, though? Because they're sort of pillow-fisted Deathwing Knights at that point, right? There's, like, no damage bonuses in that detachment, so you're like, aha, I Alpha Strike you, and this unit is kind of hard to kill, and your opponent's like, okay. But what does it do? And they're like, I don't know, just, like, roll 6s to wound or something a bunch of times. Because we're Strength 6 AP1. Like, maybe it's fine. Maybe it just tarpets you into your deployment zone and wins. But don't go second. Then you die. All right. What else do we have to talk about? You know what I haven't seen in a while, chat, is Thousand Suns. I say as I click to a tournament that has a second place Thousand Sun in it. This is 3-1-1. Double Disc Sorcerers. Let's go. The weird thing about Thousand Suns is that you want to be playing these Disc Sorcerers as like singleton utility units because their debuff is so strong and they're fast infantry, so they can like do objectives for you and stuff like that. But the problem I've always found is that they're, for a utility unit, they're like so expensive. It's nuts. You're paying like 120 points for a unit that's going to score an objective one time. And it's not like Inceptors where they're hard to kill in the swing back. It's just dude just has a 4+ invulnerable save and falls apart. Double Infernal Masters, a Crystal and a Vortex. Magnus the Red, a Sorcerer with Forbidden Lore. 1, 2. So a big double unit with Armon. Yeah, Armon at the top. A big unit of Flamer Dudes for Armon to hang out with. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 units of base rubrics. No Bolter unit, which is probably fine. That gives you more CP to spend on Magnus. 1 Rhino for the big unit. 2 units of Zangor Enlightened for secondaries. And the Blue Scribes. It's like pretty solid, honestly. So it's 4 units of rubrics, right? 4 units of 5? Yeah. 4 units of 5. We had the Infernal Masters take 2. The Sorcerer takes 1. And then you get 1 sort of Disc Sorcerer on 1 unit. It's a little squishy. But some of that stuff might just be reserving. Interesting. I gotta go back to playing Rubric Spam. I think I've been playing too many monsters recently. Monsters and vehicles and Thousand Suns and having it be mediocre. Oh yeah, I guess the Chaplain gives the unit +1 to wound. Yeah, that's fair. That's what you're playing tomorrow? That seems good. But they don't have redeploys in that detachment, right? I guess I have the codex. My janky photo codex here. I haven't looked too hard into the Vanguard task force. Yeah, you get like awkwardly destroyed, right? If you deploy aggressively and then go second. I guess it depends on like where the terrain is, but they also can't advance and charge, right? So they're just like, if you deploy out of line of sight, like you get I guess you can do guerrilla tactics to go into reserve, but it's strategic. Well, you can deep strike back in, so it's fine. So like you have a little bit of play, I guess, if you just get like counter deployed or screened out or something. It feels very janky though. Maybe it's good. Let me know if it's good. Hot shot, if it's good, you tell me. It feels wildly janky. I don't know what to do with that detachment, by the way. I think the answer is that you reserve Centurions all over the place or something. But that's like so boring. That's just so like it's so 8th edition Raven Guard energy, and I just don't want to deal with it. But it is what it is. Oh, Astra Militarum is the other list I want to talk about. Oh, but before we jump off Thousand Suns, let's talk about Thousand Suns. We have another X and 1 here from Gem City. Ahriman, double Inferno Master at Magnus. A Demon Prince to give stealth. Let's go. Plus 2 sorcerers. One has Crystal, one has Lord of Forbidden Lore. 2 sorcerers. A lot of people love these sorcerers. Their gun is just it's so short range and it's so random. I hate them. I like the one for the untargetable unit, but the second one feels like so weird. We have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just base-ass units in Rubric Marines. Just 5x5. All right, fair enough. Plus a Spawn, a Vortex Beast, and the Blue Skrills. This is a straightforward list. Everybody just jumps in their unit and hangs out. We even have Ahriman in a unit of 5 dudes. Do we have like a... extra flamer unit? Yeah, we have a 4 flamer unit for Ahriman to go in. Oh no, they're mostly 4 flamer units. Interesting. That does seem good if you're not if you don't need them to like trade for big stuff, I guess. Solid. Also playing 6 last game experience. Yeah. It's endlessly amusing to me that how like incompetent the design for like the stealthy Marines are, because it's always like, all right guys, we're gonna be stealthy and tactical, so everything buffs infantry and makes them deploy better and makes them faster. But you know what that's really good on is the stuff that has good damage output but also is like not a stealthy infantry guy. Is like a Terminator or an Aggressor or a Centurion, like all the super heavy infantry stuff. It's never good on the Phobos guys, because what the Phobos guys need is extra damage output. And it's just like funny that they just never understand that. Like if you want to make a Phobos attachment, you're like, all right, 1 CP of advance and charge, or like advance and operate normally or something. Like 1 CP, like, you know, feigned flight, you can fall back, advance, do normal stuff. And then you get, you're just like detachment ability, Phobos units get reroll wounds rolls. And then like you have a strat for devastating wounds or something. Like that's what you need for on Phobos units only. But they're just like, nah, dude. We'll give them forward deploy. And expect people to use it on, like, cool intercessors and something. Like, no, you're going to put it on 10 Terminators. The stealthiest 10 Terminators with their enormous guns and shields and stuff in the world. It's so silly. All right. That moves us on. To Astra Militarum. That's what we're going to talk about. Keep losing my train of thought here. Jared Bruce over here at Gemhammer. Or Gem City, excuse me. Running the light brigade. Does that mean that we're running Death Riders? Let's go. So Death Corps Marshal, 2 Squadron Commanders, Lord Solar Leontis, a Primera Psyker. So I wonder if we're making a big brick to give the 4+ invulnerable save too. A Tank Commander, Ursula Creed. Yep, a 20-man of Death Corps of Krieg. So we're running the big Death Corps unit. So that gets probably the Psyker and Leontis maybe, or the Death Corps Marshal maybe. Plus a 10-man infantry squad. An Aegis defense line. All right. What do Aegis defense lines do now? Just give you good cover or whatever? It is in the Militarum Codex, right? Yeah. You can set up, or a Militarum infantry can move on top of it. You get the benefit of cover. You get a 4+ invulnerable save. And oh, excuse me. When an enemy unit is only within engagement range of 1 or more fortifications from your army, can be selected as target of ranged attacks. You do not make desperate escape checks due to falling back. So, interesting thing. I guess, like, so there's a big discussion about Big Guns Never Tire right now because it's an unclear rule as written in the rulebook. But an interesting thing that this might do is because this isn't phase locked. I think it lets you Overwatch stuff that charge. Even if you roll that Big Guns Never Tire, it doesn't work on Overwatch, which it probably shouldn't, but it's weird. I think half of it works in Overwatch is the actual way it works, but it's bizarre and probably unintended. So you can like Big Guns Never Tire or pistol into something that's engagement range here, which is very funny if you are not yourself engaged. So that's cute. You can also just kill them. What happens to units that are on top of a unit that's destroyed? That's weird. I don't think that happens anywhere else in the game. Do they just fall down? But they're like in the midair, and then they. I don't know. Bizarre. Who knows? But that's also. I guess it is a friendly unit, right? So everybody can run through it. It's not actually terrain. So you can provide cover to all these Death Riders and vehicles and stuff. It's not a vehicle keyword, right? No. So you can move through it with tanks. So it can provide... It can provide cover to vehicles, but you can move through it freely because it's a friendly non-vehicle unit. Is that worth 145 points? Maybe not. Is that kind of cool? Yes. They die. You're dead. You fall into your death. Falling damage. Rocks fall. Everyone dies. A Hellhound, double Manticores, a Rapier Laser Destroyer, 2 Scout Sentinels, a Tempesta Scion unit, and Calidus Assassins. Is it just... It's just 2 Death Rider squads? That's what makes it the Light Brigade? Alright. I mean, I guess that's fine. And then a bunch of Rapier Laser Destroyers. Those are cool. Oh, those are infantry, right? They have, like, the new infantry mechanics. So going on to the... Oh, my God. Holy shit. Inky just clawed her way on my leg. Ow! Inky, that hurt so much. Hi. Do you want to come hang out with chat? Hello, you. So I guess that means that the Rapier Laser Destroyers can go onto the defense line and get an invulnerable save. That's pretty cool. What do you think about that? Is it cool technology from Astra Militarum? Maybe? Alright. You're being good. Alright, chats. Any other factions that we want to talk about before we jump off? Do we have any spicy ones? Hi. We have a little bit of Raven Guard action here. Is this the all lone operative list? No, not really, actually. Triple Inceptors, a Land Raider Redeemer for an Apothecary, Aggressor Squad Brick, a Scout Sniper Squad, Vanguard Veteran Squad, Triple Whirlwind. So it's just Cave and Shrike with the Vanguard Veterans for some, for a lone operative, one lone operative unit. Plus we get, just normal Gladius Task Force good stuff, I guess. Seems fine. I like Shrike. Shrike's one of my favorite characters in the Space Marine Codex. I wish that there were more lists that could utilize him better. Seems pretty cool. Oh, Grey Knights. I literally talked about doing Grey Knights and then didn't talk about them. Yeah. We do need to talk about Grey Knights, because there is an X and 1 Grey Knights that I identified before the game, or before the event. It is... I just need to find it now, because I've forgotten where it is. How about I didn't close it? What have I done? Oh, here it is. I found it. It's from Cartonian Cartage. All right. Gareth Perchan with Grey Knights. All the MSU. Double Brotherhood Librarians. Plus Castellan Crow, the Grey Man himself, a Grandmaster with Sigil of Exigence, and a Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight with Inescapable Wrath. Which one's that one? So Sigil of Exigence is the reactive teleport. So after you're targeted, you can run away. Goodbye. I must go. My planet needs me. And then you deep strike again. Kitty cat, you're in the way of the screen. I'm trying to look at data sheets. Please stop. You get +1 to charge. And he does advance and charge. He doesn't add to your advance rolls, only your charge rolls, which is a little bit sad. +2 throw range would be sweet on that guy. But he does get +1 to charge, which is cool. So his throw range is actually not too bad on the Nemesis Grandmaster. 1 5-man Terminator squad, 3 strike squads, 2 Paladin squads, a 10-man Purifier. So Castellan Crow gives that unit +1 attack on their ranged smite, their little anti-infantry smite. So you end up netting, once he's attached to the unit, 11 additional shots from the unit. So they each fire, if they're at 12 inches of you, they each fire 2 smites, I believe. He fires 3, I think, because his is better. And also 4 Stormbolter shots. So these guys like sweep infantry like it's going out of style. They shoot 60 times from that unit. Or 70 times. 60 times, yeah, 60 times. Blambo! Plus double Paladin squads, yeah. And then strikes and Terminators. So the... Yeah, I guess we're probably just putting Librarians into the Paladin squads. Do they get... They don't get Apothecaries, do they? That's interesting. Also, this one doesn't have a banner in it. Weird. The Librarians are good in the Terminator squads because you are oftentimes blowing up your own dudes with your explosions. So at least you can regenerate those later on in the game if you take damage on yourself with your psychic power. But we're only running 1 Terminator squad here, so it's not that big of a deal. Although a lot of times they just die, so it doesn't... it's not that big. But that's pretty good. Gareth Perchan for 1. Very nice. We could search for some Admech chats. So I don't know why I searched Admech. We're looking for this Mechanicus. We have a 5/3. Anything from Fight Club? No. Ew. Oh boy. So mostly this guy from Tampa. Running Belisarius Call, double Cybernetic, a Data Smith, a Dominus with the so Manipulus with the explosion. The Dominus excoriating emanation is it the gun buff? Enhancement names are the ones the one thing I can't really remember that well. No. Oh, this is the stealth guy. So you have sustained 1 on one dude and stealth on the other dude. And those guys are attaching into Cataphren units, it looks like. We have 1 unit of Skitarii. And 2 units of 2 Castellan Robots. He's getting ready for the new Castellan Robots attachment that they're getting. Here's the robot. So the robots themselves give Cybernetic a Data Smith of 4+, feel no pain, which is kind of whatever. What does the Data Smith do back for them? So he gives them their protocols. So you can give +2 attacks from ranged, +2 attacks from melee. If he passes a leadership check, oh, that's weird. And then he gains the protocol of your choice. It's kind of strange that they don't start with 1 and then take a leadership to switch it, but it is what it is. +1 toughness, +2 attacks with range, or +2 attacks with melee. These ones are rocking phosphor blasters and combustors. So we'll be shooting... it's 2 phosphor blasters, or... yeah. So these ones are shooting up to 5 shots, potentially, with the buff. It's strength 6, AP 0 for 2. But you can go to AP 1, obviously, because we're in Adeptus Mechanicus pretty easily. And then also D6 +1, AP 1 flamer shots. What unlocks the heavy phosphor blaster for these guys? It's a wild data sheet. Oh, they can take the heavy phosphor blaster instead of the flamer. I feel like you just do that. But it looks like we're using them as a little bit more melee because we kept 1 fist, right? So we can potentially be swinging 6 times, strength 6, or 6 attacks, strength 12, 3 damage. That's like a solid melee profile. It's honestly almost better than a Redemptor Dreadnought. The strength's not as high and the weapon skill sucks, but they have more attacks. And the damage profile is the same. It's kind of nutty. If you flipped into the melee protocol. If you haven't, you're just stuck with the range, probably. And they still have their reflective shots. Base toughness 9, but you can put them to 10, which is kind of cute. These guys don't seem too bad. I think the points cost is just the awkward part. 100 points a model, plus the character. Yeah, 235. I guess it's fine. And then low ballistic skill, but you can give them heavy so they can stand still and shoot. Like, maybe it's okay. All right. I'll buy it. At least as a counterpunch to the Cataphront Breachers. I can sort of I understand. 2 Scorpius Disintegrators. And you'd have 3 Sidonian Dragoons. Wow, this is very melee focused of a Admech list. Very nice. Good stuff. Same as a Redemptor minus melee? Yeah. But you lose an attack, right? You can't use your Feel No Pain versus Mortals from the Libby power when it backfires. That one I believe you can. I always get confused of which one it is. I believe that the Librarian you can, but because any mortal wound inflicted by a psychic ability is considered a psychic attack. And it doesn't say that you have to be targeted by it, to my understanding. So when you blow your own head up, I believe that your Psychic Hood triggers. What I don't think it triggers on is hazardous weapons, because that is like affected by a core rule, not the weapon itself, and so the hazardous ability doesn't have the psychic tag, so that one is not psychic, I believe is how it works. Hobby Goblins in chat, how's it going? What's up? With the Nemesis Dreadnought armor, the Grandmaster Nemesis Dreadnought armor does not advance in charge. Wait, really? No way. You're kidding me. He just gets the reroll hits and wounds thing? Oh my god, you're right! What? No, wait, this guy sucks. What are you talking about? He doesn't advance in charge? That's insane. Why does the normal one do that, but the character one doesn't? I guess he does more damage, but that's what you're paying points for. Oh, that's like their psychic power. What? All right, chat. I apologize I misspoke there. That's absolutely nuts. This guy's too mediocre. I don't know. It's a good damage. It's okay. It's pretty solid damage with full rerolls. But man, is it hard to get like a dude in? We're just making 8-inch charges out of Deep Strike or whatever, I guess. You gotta move like a slow ass dude around terrain and stuff to actually get the charge in. Oof. Well, that's a good call out, Chad. Thank you so much. Yeah, wild. Well, that's unfortunate. Get wrecked, Grey Knights. No wonder your people aren't playing you very much, because your abilities don't make sense. We've learned so much today about characters having randomly different abilities than their other stuff. Also, the Tomb Spider, the Synaptic Spider, has one aura that randomly only works on vehicles, whereas the other one doesn't. Just weird, you know? Just weird 40k things. All right, chat. Well, I'm a little sleepy. I'm going to take a nap, but I'm going to be live over on the Purple channel later on. So thank you for hanging out with me for this stream. I appreciate it. But yeah, I'm going to be over playing some games in probably give me an hour or so, and I'll be live over there. I think this is good talking. Just like a lot of creativity in these lists, especially we talked about this Necron list that are very non-standard. A lot of kind of interesting evolution happening to these builds, which is pretty sweet. And it's cool to see so many armies doing well. Obviously, a lot of the stuff is kind of relegated to X and 1, but we're no longer in this point where like a wide variety of the factions of the game, we can't find anyone who's X and 1 with them. Drukhari looks like they're still kind of struggling. Adeptus Mechanicus clearly. But other than that, everybody seems to have found at least a little bit of their footing. Would think that Grey Knights would be better? Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how Grey Knights pan out. It is tough. I do think that the damage output's really awkward for them. I don't know why they underpowered Psycannon so much. I think, like, they were probably worried that being able to apply them kind of anywhere on the table would be too strong if they did a lot of damage. But, like, half of their army is, like, Strength 8, AP 1, right? Yeah, we're looking at, like, you know, looking back at this Nemesis Dread Knight, this dude, all of his ranged weapons are max at AP 1. And the Psycannon is, I guess, Strength 10, which is okay, but it's just a autocannon profile, which is not that exciting without buffs. They need ways to improve their AP or strength or give rerolls or something in limited aspects. If they had like a 2 CP reroll your wound rolls or something, I think the faction would be doing a lot better. I am a little bit worried for them once we see like Space Marines come down and you start to see Anvil or Ironstorm detachments, excuse me, with like 3 -1 damage dreadnoughts with Armor of Contempt, and you just come in with 10 Paladins and shoot them, and you're like, you can't do anything to them in melee because you're like winning on 5s, they save on 3s, you're -1 damage, so they basically do nothing. And then shooting at them, it's the same deal, right? They're saving on 2s in that point, and then you're only hitting them for 1 damage. And outside of the Librarians, you're really not really doing much. So a little bit worried, but we'll see. We'll see how popular that detachment becomes, because it might be a little bit straightforward and easy to beat. I don't know. Also infiltrators, I guess, in that matchup. Oof. Could be awkward. Anyway, that's going to be it for me today, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Please come hang out with me on stream in a little bit. Yeah, also stay tuned for some sweet content. I think I'm going to do a video tomorrow on coherency. Looks like there were a lot of questions on that from my Tyranid video over the weekend, so we're gonna cover that. And yeah, it's gonna be good. So, I'll see you later, everybody. Remember to keep it classy, folks. Have happy wargaming, and cheers.